becoming a mother. Wow, there's really just nothing else quite like it, is there? It's this um, profound, sometimes overwhelming, and totally life-altering adventure.
Absolutely.
You have these moments just overflowing with joy and love you couldn't even imagine, moments you just want to freeze.
Mm,
But let's be real here, it's also packed with challenges, like
yeah.
undeniable challenges that really test your limits.
That's so true.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into something really personal, often kind of unspoken. It's the complex relationship between breastfeeding and maternal mental health.
Yeah, it's a deeply intertwined connection.
It really is. It's this emotional landscape that honestly looks unique for every single mother.
That's exactly right. And our mission today really is to pull back the curtain a bit on the science behind this. We want to, bravely tackle some of the tough questions moms grapple with
Yeah,
and just shed light on that emotional roller coaster so many experience. We really want to approach this with empathy, with honesty, and just a clear understanding that there's no single right way here.
absolutely. And this deep dive, it's for anyone who is a mom right now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're expecting, or, and this is so important, anyone who's supporting a new mother.
Mm-hmm.
Essential
Yeah,
support
we're
and
getting.
navigate this together.
Yeah.
Look for some clarity, some understanding, because really every journey deserves to be seen and supported. Stepping into motherhood, it honestly feels like you're walking into uncharted territory, doesn't it?
It really does.
Your body goes through these huge shifts. You barely recognize it sometimes. Sleep, vanished, gone.
Haha, yeah, with sleep.
Right.
Right.
And your emotions can feel like they're on this wild ride, just totally unpredictable, changing hour by hour sometimes.
Yeah.
It's an immense amount to process.
It really is. And the statistics, unfortunately, they kind of back that up. We often hear about postpartum depression, right? The American Psychological Association said in 2023 that affects up to 15% of new mothers.
Which is significant.
Hugely significant. But what's maybe even more common are things like general anxiety, these really intense mood swings. And these aren't just, minor blips. They're big emotional shifts that can really impact daily life.
And then, okay, you throw breastfeeding into this already intense mix, and it often just layers on this whole new set of uncertainties, pressures.
Mhm.
You might find yourself asking, like, will this even come naturally? Is it going to hurt? Am I making enough milk? Am I doing it right?
Constant questions.
Exactly. These questions, these doubts, they can weigh so heavily. And they often just amplify those mental health challenges that,
Yeah.
so many new moms are already dealing with.
Yeah.
It's a huge emotional load.
But what's fascinating here, I think, is that breastfeeding, it's so much more than just like the physical act of feeding a baby. It's
Yeah.
this whole emotional journey. It gets tangled up with a mother's identity, her bond with her child, even those often unspoken societal expectations.
Yeah, the pressure.
Totally. For some women, it truly is a source of immense comfort, this profound connection, empowerment even. But for others, well, it can unfortunately become a real battleground, full of frustration, deep guilt, sometimes even shame. So to
Whoa.
really get it, we have to look beyond just the mechanics,
Right.
We need to dive into the heart of the maternal experience itself. So when we turn to the science, what's it telling us? How does breastfeeding actually affect the mind?
The research, honestly. It's kind of a mixed bag,
Okay.
which actually perfectly reflects how individual this all is. Every mother's journey is different. There's no single story.
That makes a lot of sense. But
Yeah.
is there a positive side, like hormonally? I've heard about oxytocin and things like that. What's the science say there?
You're absolutely right to bring up hormones. They're key players. Breastfeeding triggers the release of two really important ones, oxytocin and prolactin.
Okay.
Oxytocin, yeah, often called the love hormone. It's crucial because it promotes bonding, this deep sense of calm, relaxation.
Yeah, and research backs this up. There was a 2022 study, I think in Frontiers in Psychiatry. It found breastfeeding moms often reported lower stress levels during feeding sessions, and that's largely chalked up to oxytocin's soothing effects.
So it really works in the moment.
Exactly. And then you have prolactin. It's essential for making milk, obviously, but it also seems to have this calming influence, helping moms feel more nurturing and connected. And here's where it gets even more interesting. A 2023 meta-analysis, this was in the Journal of Maternal, Fetal, and Neonatal Medicine, it suggested that breastfeeding can be linked with a lower risk of postpartum depression for some women.
Okay, some women.
Yes, and here's the really crucial part. This benefit was especially strong for those who had good social support systems.
So it's not just the biology.
Exactly. It's not just biology in a vacuum. It's the community, the support network around the mom that often helps her actually feel those benefits. It really highlights how vital that village is, just as important as the natural process itself.
So for those moms, those hormonal boosts, they are just like a side effect.
Hmm.
They're creating real moments of connection, a quiet pause in all the chaos of having a newborn.
A sanctuary.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be a real sanctuary. But okay, that sounds great when it works. But I'm guessing there's another side of this kind, right? When things don't go so smoothly.
Absolutely. And that's where the challenges really surface, and they can be pretty significant. It's
Wow.
quite striking, actually, how the pressure to breastfeed, whether it's coming from family, doctor, society, wherever,
Yeah, it's everywhere.
it is, and it can actually backfire dramatically. There was a 2024 study in BMC Women's Health that found mothers who felt like obligated to breastfeed reported much higher anxiety and stress, especially if they then ran into common problems like low milk supply or latching issues.
It really hits home why this is so complex. The whole breast is best idea, I mean, comes from a good place,
Well-intentioned, yes.
but it can ironically make moms feel totally inadequate, like a failure, if their breastfeeding journey doesn't look like the brochure picture.
Exactly. It turns something natural into this source of intense self-doubt, even guilt.
Oh.
And then layered on top of that, you have the very real physical challenges. Painful things like cracked nipples or mastitis, which is this inflammation of the breast tissue. It can be incredibly painful and make you feel really sick.
God, I've heard that's awful.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
And imagine dealing with that kind of pain every few hours while also trying to care for and bond with a tiny newborn. We see countless stories online, moms describing the struggle, the guilt they feel, even thinking about formula when they're in so much pain.
Yeah.
It just shows how quickly physical discomfort can spiral into real emotional distress. And even beyond acute pain, there's just the constant demand of breastfeeding every 2 to 3 hours, day and night.
Relentless.
Totally relentless. And that can feel incredibly isolating, especially if a mom doesn't have enough support to share the load or just get a break. And this really brings us to a crucial point, something experts all agree on. Every single mother's experience is unique. There's just no one-size-fits-all narrative here. There was a 2025 report from the World Health Organization, for example, and it really pinpointed the key things that influence how breastfeeding impacts mental health. Things like a mother's personal expectations going in.
What she thought it would be like.
Exactly. Then the strength of her support system, family, friends, partner, professionals, and
No.
crucially, any pre-existing mental health conditions she might have, they all interact.
So what that really means is, for one mom, breastfeeding might feel empowering, a source of strength. Maybe it even helps her anxiety. But for another mom, it could unfortunately be a major trigger for anxiety, depression, maybe even just this overwhelming sense of failure.
Precisely.
It just underscores how absolutely necessary personalized, compassionate care is for every single mother, because her reality is her reality. And I think to really grasp the depth of this, the varied impact it can have, we just have to hear from moms themselves. Their stories, they paint the clearest picture.
Absolutely. Let me share Sarah's story first. She was a first-time mom, and breastfeeding was like her dream. It was really important to her.
Okay.
But her baby just really struggled to latch properly, and her milk supply was low. She told us, "I felt like such a failure. Every single feeding session ended in tears, mine and hers."
Oh, that's
It
heartbreaking.
really was. And that guilt, that pressure, it pushed her into a really difficult place, made her postpartum anxiety much worse. It wasn't until she made the, frankly, courageous decision to switch to formula and also got therapy that she started to heal and actually find joy in being a mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly tough, but also so relatable for many, I'm sure. Okay, let's contrast that. What about Maria?
Yeah, Maria's story is quite different. She found breastfeeding to be transformative, actually. She described those quiet moments feeding her son as her sanctuary.
A sanctuary. I like that.
Yeah. She said, even when I was exhausted, it felt like we were in our own little world, a time to just be. For Maria, breastfeeding actually seemed to ease her postpartum mood swings, gave her this real sense of purpose, connection.
So the complete opposite experience, really.
Pretty much, which just shows the spectrum, right?
Definitely.
And then you have someone like Lena. Her experience was a really poignant mix of both. On one hand, breastfeeding definitely strengthened her bond with her baby, and she cherished that deeply.
Okay.
But the pressure, both external and internal, to just keep going, even though she was dealing with pain and exhaustion, it eventually led to this feeling of resentment. She admitted quite openly, "I loved it and hated it all at the same time."
Wow, love and hate it. That really sums up the complexity, doesn't it?
It really does. And these stories, taken together, they just powerfully show that the mental health impact isn't simple. It's not one size fits all. It's deeply personal, shaped by circumstance, support, expectations, everything. And we can't talk about this without talking about society's role. It plays a huge part in shaping these experiences, the expectations, the
Right,
perceptions.
the cultural backdrop.
Exactly. For instance, in many cultures, like parts of Southeast Asia we mentioned, breastfeeding is widely celebrated. It's seen as the gold standard. A 2024 UNICEF report noted over 70% of mothers in many countries there initiate breastfeeding. That reflects strong cultural norms and health pushes.
And that celebration, that's a positive thing, right? Encouraging something healthy?
It can be, absolutely. But that very celebration can sometimes morph into immense pressure, even judgment.
Ah, okay. I see where this is going.
Yeah. Moms who can't breastfeed or maybe choose not to for their own valid reasons, they can face intense scrutiny, criticism, and that fuels those feelings of inadequacy, sometimes shame. It's a really delicate balance.
And social media probably doesn't help there.
It often complicates it, yeah. We've all seen it, right? Those discussions online, picture-perfect breastfeeding posts, they can make some moms feel completely inferior, especially when their own reality is messy, difficult,
Yeah.
and the lack of really open, honest talk about the struggles, that can leave moms feeling incredibly isolated, like they're the only ones finding it hard.
That isolation piece is huge.
Mhm.
Okay, so what about healthcare systems? What role do they play?
A really significant one. There was a 2025 study in The Lancet which found something pretty clear. Mothers who had good access to lactation consultants, real expert help, and also vital mental health support, they were significantly less likely to feel stressed about breastfeeding.
So access to support directly links to less stress. Makes sense.
It makes total sense. But what's concerning is the contrast. You look at under-resourced areas, maybe rural communities somewhere, or even underserved urban neighborhoods, moms there often lack this critical support.
Right.
And that absence of resources, it significantly bumps up their risk of facing serious mental health challenges tied to breastfeeding. It can turn something potentially positive into a real burden.
Okay, so given all this complexity, the deeply personal nature of it all, how do we actually support mothers better through this whole journey of breastfeeding and mental health?
Yeah, great question. It clearly has to start with compassion, understanding, and just a whole lot of flexibility.
Flexibility sounds key.
It really is. The foundational step, I think, is to normalize all feeding choices. Breastfeeding, formula, combo feeding, whatever works for that mom and baby. Every choice is valid and deserves respect.
Get rid of the judgment.
Exactly. We've seen positive campaigns trying to do this, like a 2024 initiative in the Philippines promoting Fed is Best. That's a fantastic approach, aiming to reduce stigma around formula and just support all moms however they feed their baby.
That's such a vital message. Fed is best. And beyond that, what about practical support?
Crucial. This means truly accessible lactation consultants, people who actually know how to help with the physical side. Peer support groups are amazing too, places where moms connect, share stories, and realize, hey, I'm not alone in this.
Community matters.
Hugely. And comprehensive mental health services need to be part of the package. We saw that great initiative in Cebu in 2023, training midwives to screen for postpartum depression during routine visits.
Oh, that's smart, catching it early.
Exactly. Integrating that care is key. And connecting that to the bigger picture, we just need more open, honest conversations. Creating safe spaces where moms feel okay sharing their struggles without fear of judgment. Online communities like that Pinay Moms group or other parenting forums, they've become absolute lifelines for so many women.
Yeah, finding your tribe.
It's about building that community where it's okay to be vulnerable, to say, this is hard.
And what about partners and families? What's their role?
Oh, absolutely vital. This isn't just the mom's journey. A 2025 study in pediatrics actually found moms with involved supportive partners reported lower stress related to breastfeeding.
Makes sense, sharing the load.
Totally. When the whole family understands the challenges, offers practical help, emotional support, it genuinely eases the burden and transforms the experience.
So education for everyone around the mom is important too.
Definitely. And finally, we have to talk about systemic barriers. Things like adequate paid maternity leave, mandated workplace pumping spaces. These aren't just nice-to-haves.
They're essential.
They're essential for maternal mental health. Policies like the Philippines Expanded Breastfeeding Promotion Act from 2023, they're moving in the right direction, helping moms breastfeed if they choose to without sacrificing their career or their sanity. These are crucial steps for real support.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive today, breastfeeding. It's clearly this journey marked by love, yes, but also challenge and incredible resilience. It has these profound, undeniable effects on mental health. For some moms, like we heard, it's joy, calm, maybe thanks to that oxytocin boost.
Yeah.
But for others, sadly, it can be a real struggle, marked by pressure, guilt, physical pain. The science, the stories, they all point to one thing.
Yeah.
There's no single answer here,
Nope.
just individual stories. And every single one deserves to be heard, understood, and supported completely without judgment.
So well put. And if you listening right now or someone you know has navigated these emotional ups and downs of breastfeeding, we genuinely hope you'll share your story in the comments below.
Yeah, please do.
Your experiences, they can truly inspire and uplift others. It's so important we learn from each other. Let us know, too, do you agree or disagree with our summary today? We want to hear your thoughts.
And please tell us where you're tuning in from. We're really trying to expand our reach worldwide and love hearing where our listeners are.
Yes, please do.
And hey, for more great information like this, stuff that really helps you get informed, be sure to visit Mind Expansion Daily.
Great resource.
Absolutely. You'll find a ton of knowledge there. And while you're visiting, make sure you like and subscribe to Mind Expansion Daily. That way you won't miss any of our future deep dives. We're here to keep supporting parents and exploring the topics that really matter.
Here's to nurturing both body and soul on this incredible journey.